Ezra in the field. I'm inside the classiest apartments under construction in Naka Estate in Nakuru. Now, I have seen this mjengo coming up from the groundbreaking up to where it is today. We are on the 7th slab, doing the final structural works up there, and very, very soon we are going to come on the inside and do the interior finishes, and then I will bring it again to the tenants now for a rent. But today I'm still here to give you more updates about this project, and of course I'm going to be going through a few questions here and there which will be answered by none other than Wilson, who is the director of Concept Builders, the folks who have designed and built this apartment thus far. So among what we are going to look at is plastering, and I wrote them here, the superstructure, you know how it's nearing completion, and also moving into the finishes. And as you can see from the drone shots, they have already done, or they are continuing to do, the window frames. So the questions are going to be around those key areas. Without further ado, let's get rolling. Wilson.
Yes, Ezra.
How are you?
I'm good.
Now, before I even get into the questions,
yes,
just as I came in, the first impression of your plastering in here, I just love the way your plastering is so neat, so clean, so smooth, flawless. Even on the sockets right there, the switches, buttons, or where they're going to be, rather, the switches.
Where we have the socket boxes.
I can see a clean key around that box.
Yes.
This is just impressive, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, as I think I've told you previously, every element of work builds on to the next.
Yeah.
So this is basically when we provide those openings as they are, clean as they are, is because we want to, when we transit from plastering and to any other kind of interior finishing, is that this level of workmanship is ready to receive the next element of work. And you can easily transit from one element of work to the other with a very clean, flawless finish.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, so this time, up to where we are in this apartment block, I structured my questions into three.
Yes.
We have into three segments. We have the structural and the timeline segment, the window and interior works, and also the project management.
Yes.
So let's start with the first one.
Yes.
The structural and timeline.
Yeah.
So now that the final slab has been cast, up there as we see, what's the estimated timeline for full completion?
We are looking at between 5 and 6 months, because there are certain elements of work we are undertaking simultaneously. Like at this particular instance, we have several teams carrying out. There's masons who are doing the plaster works. We have still welders and fabricators who are fabricating windows and mild steel casements. Like basically windows, doors, staircase railings, balcony railings. We have electricians and plumbers. Plumbers are doing, and electricians are doing fast fix plumbing provisions, fast fix electrical provisions. Basically, conduiting, electrical conduit works, and plumbing, clean water supply and drainage, as the plastering team is going up on every level of floor.
Okay.
So works are being done concurrently. So the reason why we are doing these elements of works concurrently is we want to cut down on the lead time on completion time for this particular building. So in terms of finishes, from this time where we are in May, heading into June, so we are looking into 5-6 months. So earliest November we should be November we should be done with this particular building. Okay. So that now letting can start on from December into January. Okay. Coming into 2026.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
So were there any structural challenges reaching to the 7th floor?
Not really. Remember from the onset I told you we anticipate in terms of design. One of the guiding principles in terms of execution of works, in terms of carrying out works sequentially and flawlessly, is that you get it right in design. Then you translate that design on ground, and following the design schematics through and through on every level of construction, on every phase of construction. So challenges would arise in terms of maybe deliverables in terms of timelines,
Okay.
getting tasks done if external factors come into play. Say you're still on the structure, going up and we have rain, so that becomes a challenge.
Okay.
But in terms of technical parameters, not so much.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it with that segment. Yes. Now I'm moving into the window and interior works.
Yes.
So I've seen you have some, you call them mild casings?
Yes, mild steel casement.
Mild steel casing.
Casement, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
tunasema tu dirisha na bila ango tuache kuweka kizungu
so hizi dirisha, why did you choose this kind of dirisha?
Yes.
As opposed to even the aluminium, sliding ones, as opposed to the traditional, the smaller one with the kabox,
Number one, let's begin. I think we spoke about it in a previous video. Aluminum casements, some framing, are slightly more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Now, compared to mild steel casements, compared to hizi za chuma. Ukilinganisha bei utapata za aluminium ziko slightly juu.
Okay.
Ukikuja kwa chuma, based on the design, you can control cost.
Okay.
Like you realize hapa tunafanya panels kubwa za kioo.
Yeah.
The window panes are big.
Indeed.
Deliberately so. Because we want a less busy window.
Nice.
In enhancing visibility. Otherwise, in terms of mtu kuweza kuona nje, light inaingia vizuri bila dirisha kuwa busy. Now mtu akiangalia anaweza pata serene views bila kuona machuma mingi kwa dirisha. It's deliberate. Unaona kama grills to make on the lower part.
Sure.
On the upper part, and this is a safety measure. Kama ni uko na watoto hata happen kuvunja hiyo kioo, haiwezi ruka kwenda
nje.
So that's the function. The upper part at high level, unaweza ona ukifungua drapes zako unaweza ona mbali sana bila kuona chuma mingi. So it's visibility. Just a clean, nice, neat, mild steel window, but with a very clean view of the exterior.
Okay.
Ukienda hizi zingine zinaona hizo zinaona na traditional ones, panels kidogo. Sisemi ni mbaya, but unaona in terms of visibility, largely utakuwa unaona tu chuma kwa wingi. But hizi unaona tu kama ni gari inapita huko unaona. Kama unataka kurelax unaona tu mambo iko tu sawa. And then given that one side of this building inaangalia lake.
Sure.
So the design of the windows is around the building itself. And also deliberated to allow visibility and people to take in the scenery on the left side. Those that are going to build on the left side, those are on this other side of the highway. Angalia tu magari zikipita huko, on a light pane ingia fiti, the size of the windows ni kubwa. Your light react kwa room venye inafaa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I already have one tenant who wants this side of the
You'd be surprised.
So I told them come November.
You'd be surprised if you the guys that we are working with on site, we have security on site. We have site personnel who are manning the stores. Every other day they're getting visitors. Tunataka kuona. Na ukiona unasema bwana hii tutapata aje tuanze kubook mapema. So it's in terms of space, in terms of the way it is set out. Right now anybody can look at it and be able to tell where we are headed.
Indeed.
Yes.
And given your height, and you still have so much room above you.
Deliberately.
Okay. What's the essence of doing high ceilings like this?
Number one, circulation. Aeration of the room is enhanced.
Okay.
Number two, reactional ambient lighting. Enhanced.
Okay.
Number three, just basically you're able to do more aesthetic finishes on the ceiling, but without the ceiling necessarily lowering the ceiling, because we have a height of 3 meters.
Okay.
From floor to ceiling.
Hizo ni cost ngapi wale wenye wanataka kusimplify?
Kwetu tunacheza na cost 10, but the beam is deep.
Okay.
To be able to achieve that.
Right.
Kwa wengine unaweza fanya up to 12 courses, then you do depending on your structural design.
All right.
That is influenced by your structural design.
I see.
But on this one, the reason why we also have a higher ceiling height is because we also want to do some neat gypsum around the lounge area. So that now to accentuate the lounge and the dining spaces, you're able to tell this is my dining space, this is my lounge area. So that's the whole idea about the high ceiling as well.
Right.
And maybe when you do maybe a small chandeliers here and there, you don't have them intruding into the living space. At my height, you don't have to hit
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So now, how are you ensuring alignment and level precision
Yes.
with the window casings on all floors?
Largely, what happens is that kwa hizi plaster is what we call plaster gauges. Kabla team ingie kwa kupiga plaster, kuna plaster gauges we do on every space. So that guys masons who are coming to do plaster on where they are doing plaster up to. In other words, you benchmark. Yetu tunamalizia hapa mpaka the screed, the neat screed in the single wall. Tunamalizia wapi? So that it is not a hazard. Si mtu anapiga venye anataka. So there is uniformity. Same thing na windows. You have to place gauges along the building. So this is where we are placing our windows. This depth from the masonry wall, alignment, visually, and vertically as well, in terms of being plumb and flush. Down as well as on one line, because there's a gauge running from the height of the building along the height of the building to guide how windows are fixed on the building.
All right.
And the positioning so that they are aligned in terms of vertical alignment and also horizontal alignment. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's very nice. So the next one. Okay, I was about to ask this, but you mentioned, it was about the sequence of the interior work.
Yes.
Are you plastering, wiring, plumbing simultaneously?
Yes, that is what is happening now.
But,
but once we are done now, like now we are dealing largely with the soffits of the slab and walling. The next phase would be now to do, if you come again in the next 2 weeks, you find the floors backing done, ready to receive tile. Automatically, when you have done your floor backings and what have you, you can easily commence now with the interior fittings and finishes.
Okay.
Because now the next thing is that you're dealing with tiles, you're dealing with cabinetry. After you've done your tiles, you're dealing with your
lighting,
your electrical fittings like sockets, switches, wiring, those kind of that kind of elements of work.
Internet.
Yes, internet and all that.
Okay.
So basically, it's very fast paced, but it is sequenced out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
So, what plastering materials are being used? Are you using machine applied or hand applied?
This is hand applied. We are privileged over the years. We've accumulated teams that are proficient in every element of work. You may find in certain tasks, in certain sites, we are doing maybe masonry work. There is a team of masons that handles that. Like right now, we are dealing and concentrating with plasterworks on this particular site.
Yeah.
There's a team of masons that is doing plasterworks. We have a total of 25 masons on this particular site. So that specialization, allows us to have a team that is able to handle any task proficiently, regardless of what assignment it is that they are undertaking. Because we build capacity over time, and to be able to do the kind of works that we do. Yeah, I don't know whether that has captured your question.
No, it has.
Yeah. So capacity is there in terms of workmanship and also the number of workmen that we have.
All right.
Attached to us indirectly or
directly. Yes. Okay. So the next segment is around project management.
Yes.
So how many floors are worked on a time during this stage to maintain efficiency?
Right now we are doing up to 3 floors per time. Now we've done first, second. We have masons on the third, fourth, and fifth, taking up different tasks. Because we are working on a very strict timeline. The developer here is very keen on timelines.
Okay.
They would want to get this project done and transit from it within a particular duration.
Okay.
That's why you realize from onset, it's like you're being smack on time in terms of elements of the various elements of work we are undertaking. So timelines here, we have to keep our time in terms of achieving the scheduled task within a particular time. So we have to take on tasks, various tasks per time, not just do one element and leave out. That will compound with our lead time for completion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a time I was, I think it was last weekend, I was on the highway here.
Yes.
It was a Sunday, then I saw guys that are up there and working. I'm like, these guys don't...
Right now, there's a mild steel casements, hizi kuchoma, fabrication ya milango, madirisha, grills za balconies, railings, ni venye tutuzifanya hapa. bado kuna electricians. Vile unaona plastering inapigwa,
Yeah.
kuna watu wa stima
Okay.
on site. Kuna plumbing technicians on site. Now we have masons on site pia. Wanapiga plaster, wengine wanajenga parapet wall huko juu.
Yeah.
So 25 plus 35, that's around 60.
Around 60.
So 60 plus, because those are directly. I've not counted the storekeepers, supervisors, and what have you, directly on site. So 60 plus people on one site.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a serious affair.
All right. So you mentioned Milango. You know, I overheard your conversation before we started.
Yeah.
The site manager was telling you that you want these modern fittings.
Yes.
While mzee, I don't know the mzee, but he said mzee, bado anakwamilia style yake ya kitambo.
Yeah, but now you are able to interface, exchange ideas, pitch why this and not that. Because the markets are dynamic and they are changing every day. You realize if you move around social media and in terms of advertising, you look at products being brought into the market. Every other 2 weeks, there's a new product in the market.
Sure.
And when you look at the quality of that product, how it can really accentuate, improve your project and make your project look better, why not adopt it? That particular, rather than stick on the old. Yes, it is tried and tested, but there's even a newer, most likely more cheaper, more versatile product that will improve the outlook of your project. Take on that product.
Yeah.
Save a coin here and there, make your project more competitive in the market as well. Because this, if I was building my residence, I can do whatever I want with it.
Okay.
But this is a product that is coming into the market into the rental space market.
Okay.
And there's competition and a lot of stiff competition.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to try and keep up with the times and try and appeal in the market of the day.
Yeah. Okay. So are you then eventually going to do the wooden doors, or it will be steel?
Definitely.
Okay.
We've already done our pitch. Yeah, it's a family affair, so you pitch. You pitch
not
around,
one person.
Not one person. So, so you pitch and the larger family is sold out to that.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe you can just mention, are there pros and cons between the steel doors versus the wooden doors?
I think largely it's a function of what workmanship. Because when you're looking for steel doors or wooden doors, you can go for premium wood doors. But if the workmanship is not right, you may not get that premium outlook.
Okay.
We've done a lot of mild steel casements for steel doors. If you have the workmanship right, you get very premium outlook on the steel casement doors. So it's a function of tried and tested workmanship around any kind of product that you choose for your development. Yeah.
All right. So my last question on this project: how are you managing safety and logistics now that interior works and exterior finishes are overlapping?
Largely, you see, there's a lot of scaffolding. We also have safety harnesses on site for guys who are working on the exteriors. So they are anchored. So mtu aweze toka aende tu aende kabisa. Atakishikwa. Kuna harness. When people are working out on the exterior side, there are safety harnesses, and there's holding around the building by every level, so that now people don't or materials don't find their way, up to the ground level, and in so doing, to dispose risk. So interior, in terms of there are not much risks of the interior because you are working within a confined space. But in terms of allocation, you don't allocate too many people on one space where they are bumping onto the other. So we take due consideration to allocate task vis-a-vis the space around it, available space, so that people are able to work with a lot of freedom and taking into our site. And then we have our site supervisors. So because we are undertaking a lot of tasks at one time, we have several people on site who are monitoring what is going part time, and we are able to correct before it, anticipate, prevent before it happens.
All right, pretty well. So now we'll move on to the mega mansion you're building in Ngata. You told me you are now at the roofing stage. So let's go as well. And I have some questions around that phase of construction. So folks, we are advancing to another project. All right, folks, we have arrived at the mega mansion under construction here in Ngata, Nakuru. So in this site, I'm going to ask Wilson again. Yes. I have 3 segments on the roof design and execution, roofing challenges and considerations, and also the next steps after here. So let's start again with the first question. So what type of roof design is being implemented here?
This is a hipped roof. As you can see, it's all hipped by means it covers all the corners of the residence. On the DSQ is what we call a kneaded roof. Maybe you'll be able to show from what you've done on the drone, what you've captured on the drone, that you've done a kneaded roof, because it's a roofed structure. It may look like it has a rooftop slab, but actually it is roofed. It just happens it has a parapet wall that is concealing the roof covering and the roof structure. On the main residence, we have a hipped roof, but it is accentuated by a concrete gutter facade. You can see we have masons working on the finishings and waterproofing elements of the concrete gutter. The channel itself, then we will migrate from the channel and come on the facades or the exterior facade of the gutter and accentuate it with moldings as well, so that now it pops out and be able to give a very neat appeal and clean finish. Yes.
Nice. So far, so good.
Yes.
So why did you pick this kind of roofing, this kind of roof design for this particular mansion?
This particular, it complements the design. You see, you can have a design, but you have to have a roof covering or a roof design that complements that particular design. What I'm simply trying to say is that not all designs in terms of structure designs are a house that you will take up any kind of roof. Whatever kind of roof covering or roof design that you're going to adopt has to complement the resident itself or the house in terms of design. So that now when the design is, then the residence is done, you're able to see an holistic, beautiful appeal overall. Because this particular design, you can do a flat roof or you can do what we call a kneaded roof. It will not complement it. Yeah, because the roof itself is a crown to the design of the residence. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
So next up, are there any unique elements like skylights, roof balconies, or solar integration?
No. The roof overall is covered. Apart from one area where we have decided to do, with consultation with the client, we're integrating a pergola. So the pergola is going to use polycarbonate sheeting, which is allowing light, natural light. It's a roof cover, but it allows natural light. But overall, on the roof covering, we are doing what we call DECRA shingles, stone-coated roofing shingles. Yeah.
So what materials are being used for the roof structure? Timber trusses or
these are largely timber trusses. Also on the ceiling, blendering is largely timber as well. When it comes to gypsum, the final finish of the gypsum ceiling, that's when you're going to integrate steel gypsum studs and channels for the gypsum works on the interior. But on the roof structure itself, it's the main framing materials are timber. Yeah.
So we've spoken about concrete gutter.
Yes.
So I've seen the normal concrete. Even traditionally, kamabati tu kamekunjwa hivi in a way.
There are also plastic gutters.
Inakuwa hooked kwa.
There are also accentuated plastic gutters with detailing on them. You can also do engineered pressed gutters. You can give them detailing by pressing them at an engineering facility where you mold them to the kind of detail that you want. Yeah. So, but this is largely what we call a concrete gutter. The concrete gutter is basically reinforced onto the ring beam of the building. And at the same time, it is, during concreting, it's also, there's a waterproofing additives that we normally add onto it. And to be able to waterproof the entire reinforced concrete gutter against permeation by water. Then also drain it. You can see there are pipes strategically placed on certain corners of the building to drain from that concrete gutter.
Yeah. Let me ask you, I see some timber with a green finish.
Yes.
And others is just the timber, normal plain.
Yes.
What's the difference? What's happening?
That's the greenish timber is treated timber. So it's applied. We spray it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right here on site.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For what? For what reason?
So it's treatment. It's prevent against termite infestation. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I've always wondered when you do timber, because I look at that timber naona si ni mbao tu.
Yeah, ni mbao.
20 years down the line itakuwa jinsi inaweza kuwa wiki.
But now you have to treat it against infestation.
Okay.
And against insects that would want to bore into it.
I see.
Yeah.
So now we are into the next segment, roofing challenges and considerations.
Yeah.
So what are the main considerations when roofing such a large-scale mansion?
Largely, like I think I explained previously, we normally deal with some of these challenges from design. Maybe just to emphasize, when you want to build your residence, obtain an architectural design.
Okay.
If it's a multi-story building, obtain a structural design. What the architectural design will be able to detail is the various sections of how that building comes together, including measurements and what have you, and specification. Even the pitch, the roof pitch, an architect will specify. You will also specify the kind of material.
Okay.
The same thing. Now, in terms of structural integrity, a structural engineer will be able to specify the kind of reinforcement that goes onto the building. Now, in the roof, they will be able to specify the specific members complementing the roof angle or the roof pitch that the architect has prescribed.
Okay.
So when you have that complete design, when you get to the ground, you're not second guessing. Hii itakuwa aje. Unaniuliza maswali venye mtu anajenga chenye ajui. But unaona ukikuwa na design, unajenga kwa kitu unajua inakaa. I think ushaona pia kwa zetu, tunakuonesha mpaka animation inakaa.
Sure.
So we have already second guessed ourselves at design stage.
Yeah, from the initial
By the time we are getting to the ground, that's why I think naonanga mara mingi natuliza hizi sequence activities nasonga hivi because you have already taken into consideration every element of that build from design.
Okay.
By the time you're generating bills of quantities, materials and labor schedules, and they are structured in a phased out manner, it's like technically, you've already generated a work schedule around the implementation of that particular project. So when it gets to the ground, largely it is supervision to ensure the parameters of the designs are executed as is.
Yeah.
More often than not, that's why you realize most of our buildings come out as is as per design. So challenges largely, I would say, external factors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
External factors are factors beyond us. Say, like now it is cloudy. How do you telling Freddy? It's about to rain. Araka. Yeah.
All right. So my next two questions, I believe you have answered them, given the explanation you offered before.
Yeah.
It was about how you ensure the roof is both aesthetic and functional.
Yes.
And also how you handle roof drainage on a mansion of this size.
Yes. Just to cap it, because you may not all buildings have reinforced concrete gutters.
Sure.
You have your traditional gutters. Kuna zenye zile na aluminum wanatumia plain sheet kukunja.
Sure.
Think ushaziona kwa geocache. Unajua zinafanya.
Zinafanya
for purposes of dispelling, si lazima
you can even do it on that site house for instance.
Si lazima ufanye kila kitu high end.
Sure.
So kuna hizo na zinafanyanga fiti sana.
They do.
Kuna hizi UPVC gutters. Unaona ni za round, ziko na plastic brackets, ziko na outlet yake, ziko na stop end. Very nice. They work as well. Kuna, what do you call these ones?
Concrete.
There's another type of UPVC gutter, but it has detailing on it. In other words, instead of a plain facade, it has crown moldings on it to accentuate it. Then you can custom press your own gutters using mild steel casements. Mild steel sheet. Ndio unaikunja kwa engineering, unaweza ipatia detail venye unataka na unaiweld together. Ukiangalia warehouse mingi ziko na hizo sana because ni kubwa na washido igata kubwa watu walitoa wapi. So this is one aspect. Si ati kusema hii concrete gutter, yes, the only ile kitu itafanya kuna hizo molding zikifanya ikiisha inakaa superior.
Yeah, sure.
Ni supu. Well, huku ni kwa governor. Because the design, we designed this residence with all that in mind, so that now the kind of finishes that are going in terms of facades that are going into this building can actually accentuate it and make it stand out.
Sawa. And how do they manage kutoa uchafu maybe when during maybe the dry season, vumbi imekaenda
sasa hiyo mechanism inabidi tukuoneshe wakati tumejenga underground tanks, tuoneshe mali wana flush uchafu vitu kama hizo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa.
Because that is taken care. Kuna what we call silt traps, because now pipes go into the ground, they are channeled to an underground tank, but before we get water into the underground tank, we have what we call a sequence of traps to trap debris.
Okay.
And sift it out. So only clear water and clean water gets into the tank.
Okay.
So there's a mechanism for that. There's also a mechanism for if you're using above ground tanks to be able now to allow for water to, the first rainwater to be flushed out before it gets into the tank.
I see.
Yeah. So that needs demonstration rather than explanation.
I see. So thank you. So once the roof is done, what is the immediate next step in this construction process?
As you can see, we much as the roof is going on, you've seen plaster works have already been done on the ground floor.
Yeah, sure.
We bought time not to start on the first floor rooms because we had roofing going on. So once the roofing is done, and you can see first fix for electrical works and plumbing has already been provided for. So the next thing is plaster works on the interior and the exterior, including the exterior facades and molding. We also gonna do aluminum because we keep on talking about aluminum windows. Now, on this particular development,
they're going to be there.
Hizo aluminum windows unaziimba sana utaziona.
Wow.
Mpaka zile za kuslide, mpaka grills za burglar proofing grills utaziona zote.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a bit uniquely different. When you're doing commercial buildings, it's also different from when you're doing
residential,
a person's residence. There's a person's. There's going to be input from the developer. Yeah. At a personal touch. Yeah. That makes it stand out uniquely to them.
To them. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So, are there any special interior features that start getting shaped after roofing is complete?
Largely plasterworks. In terms of interior finishes, that is after plasterworks.
Oh, okay.
Because we have to be able to undertake most of the cement mortar related works. You get them done so that now you can now start on the interior fittings and finishes. Before then, you may find kama unafanya fittings na bado unafanya plasters, utachafua hizo fittings.
Yeah.
So maliza na kazi ya simiti yote. Sasa uanze kazi zote zile safi, zile za kwa attention to detail. Okay. Attention to detail ndio sasa hizo uchafui.
Yeah.
Hizo unafanya ukiondokea.
Okay. Sasa I will make now my own personal observations and comments.
Utuambie maneno.
Hii nyumba Wilson, ile plain area imekalia hapa, si inatoshana 50 by 100 plot?
Ni serious, ni kubwa. Nyumba yenyewe ni kubwa.
This is massive.
Ni kubwa. Juu, unajua tunajenga kwa half an acre. So, deliberately so, because the conversation at design stage when you had with the couple, besides themselves, they also have extended family members who live with them. Okay. So they have, both their parents live with them. So that's it's a 5-bedroom mega mansion. Unaona level, 2-level sitting room. Kuna mpaka ofisi, kuna nini. So it's meant to cater for also the extended family. Yeah. Kiangalia DSQ ni kubwa. Yes. Mpaka iko na jikoni nje. Hao ni watu wanaambia sisi ni watu tunaitanga watu tunajibamba. Loan ni kubwa. Hilo unaona kubwa. Kwa sababu pia marela wakipiga kabash wanakuwa na pali kuchill nini, si kila mtu amecrowd nyumba, vitu kama hizo. Those kind of things. So developers influence is what you're seeing.
The output.
Design ndio yetu. Kuichocha itoke venye nafaa ndio kazi yetu sasa.
Alafu pia sasa nimenotice hizo madirisha
kubwa. Just
asking, hizo madirisha zikiwa kubwa hivyo, yes, for natural light, perfect. In terms of construction, ukiwa na madirisha kubwa hivyo, like unaona kama hiyo iko hapo first floor. Honestly, we have just like 2 bricks hadi hapo. So is it also maybe a way of saving bricks?
No.
Versus maybe
it's deliberate in terms of design. But I would say it's very deliberate because hapo sasa tuko na zile aluminium profiles za kuslide. Una open up, that's a bedroom. Unaweza kutoka utoke hapo
Kwa hiyo balcony hapo.
Same thing pale kwa family mnaona pia opening ni kubwa. Pale kwa dining opening to the dining porch ni kubwa. So deliberately so that because this place has unique views.
Indeed.
What I will not hesitate to mention is that when you get to an architect, one of the roles of an architect is to be able to provide you just not with a house design. Usende hapo useme nipatie tu kuna 2 bedrooms zinakaje, 2 bedrooms zinakaje ama 4 bedrooms zinakaje, hebu nionyeshe inakaa vizuri. Mwambie kama kuna kichwa ya kukua creative, mind ya kukua creative. You know, like creatives. Kama cheki venye kwako kuko set out. They will be able to custom design in accordance to how your place is set out.
Yeah.
This I keep on saying and I keep on telling you this. This particular residence is designed and set out according to the overall
to the environment.
Venye kuna ukihuko kwa family kuna venye unaona uko the greater ya Njoro Ngata unaona mpaka Rivist ile barabara ya kwenda Njoro. Kwa hapa kwa dining kuna venye unaona hivi. Kuna views unaona hapo.
Nikiwa huku
ukipanda hapa kwa bedroom unaona vizuri, unaona huko hii landscape ya pande nyingine. So it's by design it's very deliberate.
Yeah. So that's why I usually tell, you know, wale uniuliza Ezra anaweza pata hiyo design. Yes, so, you can get it, but inaweza enda ifail.
Ubunifu ijaisha.
Ubunifu ijaisha.
Which is ubunifu ijaisha. For the kind of funds that you pay people, allow them to be creative on your project and get something unique, a bit different from the rest.
You told me you have a new project, groundbreaking.
Yes, unajua tuko na kadhaa. Even we just speak what to show. So there's one we're doing in Milimani, the larger part of the Milimani Estate in Nakuru.
Yes.
But there's one on the other side of I don't know, it's Masingeri or Ngata.
You told me it's Ngata.
Between Masingeri and Ngata. Yeah, because you can access it from both sides. It's a maisonette. That is not designed by us.
Yeah.
By a different design company. The owner approached us to be able to execute that design. So that's what we are doing. So we'll be able to show them, if not today, tomorrow.
Okay.
So it can be part of this vlog.
Folks, like I always tell you, you know, you usually ask, hata kama uko na plan sasa yako, they can still do the building part. Okay, so the number is right there on the screen. Concept Builders KE imekuwa pale. Sasa wacha tuambatane na yeye, tuende to that groundbreaking project. Alafu tuongee mawili matatu pale. Nimuulize mambo na around foundation, etc., site evaluation, mambo kama hayo. Those are things you usually want to know, especially wale ambao usema Nakuru siwezi jenga kitu, nitasink. Wacha tuende tujue kama je, unaweza sink huko ama kuko sawa. Wilson, tuelekee. Alright folks, sasa tulifika mahali tulikuwa tunaenda the next day. That's why you see I'm in different clothes. Na niko hapa Ngata, Nakuru, and behind us we have a project ongoing here. Like I told you earlier, it is a mega mansion again under construction, being undertaken by Concept Builders. However, for this one, they're not the one who designed. Remember, I usually tell you they do design and build, but they can also be contracted to come and build. And this one is an example. By the way, ulikuwa umeniambia sijui ulikuwa umeenda Webuye juzi.
Tunapiga laps.
Webuye kulikuwa na nini?
Webuye Bungoma. Somebody wants to do a high-rise building, commercial residential development.
Yeah.
So they contacted us actually. And I think they had watched your channel on YouTube.
Nice.
So they reached out. Because it's not a number that I know. They don't have a reference from somebody that we worked with previously. So I just guessed they must have come from your end.
That's perfect.
So we went to Bungoma County, Webuye to be precise, collected data, and hopefully get to design stage.
Okay.
Move on to approvals and consequently, hopefully we get to construction.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, some people from our last vlog, there's somebody who asked, you know, that like, do you build outside Nakuru?
Yes. The other weekend we're in Kitengela. We've done designs. I think I'll share with you.
Perfect.
An animation for 2 twin villas out in Kitengela.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So I think you folks, you
So
have had
a
for
few
yourself.
weeks back in Kikuyu Thogoto, we've done a commercial high-rise building. So we are quite flexible to work
Nice.
wherever. So unaenda maliunga na kazi iko.
Yeah.
Huwezi sema tunabaki umemea hapa Nakuru
Yeah.
labda kuna kazi.
Really good to hear.
Yes, so then,
really good to hear.
looking at the way things are, the current market trends, the world is by the day becoming a global
market.
Yes. You'll be surprised. We normally get interaction with, when we post our designs on YouTube and wherever on our social platforms, it's not necessarily people from Kenya who are making inquiries on designs.
Okay.
Eastern Central Africa, Southern America. I mean, whatever, if you do a good thing, it appeals the market across the board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good to hear.
Yes.
Really good to hear.
Yes.
So now, for this one here, what are you doing? What kind of build are you doing?
Residence. We're building a
I
residence.
mention it, but yeah.
A contemporary hidden roof.
Oh, okay.
Maisonette, 5-bedroom to be precise, complete with DSQ quarters and a perimeter wall.
Okay.
And the necessary drainage and waste management facilities. Yes.
All right.
So that's our scope of work in this particular project. Yeah.
All right. So maybe I can ask you some questions around the foundation.
Yes.
So what type of foundation are you using here?
We are doing a strip and column pads. Foundation is integrated. So we have a strip, like what traditionally how people excavate for trenches, foundation trenches, but it is reinforced with strip foundation. And we have column pads with columns as well. So it's an integrated approach in terms of reinforcement to this particular foundation. Yes.
So were there any challenges during the site clearance and leveling?
Not. I think I'm used to construction.
Okay.
Sometimes I would say one of the major challenges is external factors, which has to do the weather that prevails in the day or in the particular season. When it is during the rainy season, that's when we have challenges because we lose man hours. We have people on site, but we wind up losing man hours. They work shorter days, shorter hours in the day compared to when they when we are in dry season. Yeah, so those are largely the challenges that we experience. But we figure out, we've already figured out how to work around them. We report to work early before time elapses, and when the rain kicks in, we have done most of the work.
All right.
Yeah, scheduled for the day.
And we are in Ngata.
Yes.
There has been some news on mainstream media about sinkholes in Ngata.
Yes.
But Wilson, having come all the way here, first things first, this place is just so expansive.
Yes.
And even for those who are looking to build their homes, the tranquility here and the serenity around this place, the environment largely, is just unmatched.
I mean, you can see there are a lot of open spaces, unmatched and rivaled compared to when you're building in a metropolis. Sometimes I don't get it why we are so mad, in a mad rush to buy land where it's densely populated. This is a very nice place.
It's awesome.
It's extremely nice. The quality of air, the quality of life. Because when you buy land in certain places like this, one of the advantages is that you get to grow your own food organically.
Sure thing.
As opposed to when you're going to a marketplace, when you're used to retail procurement, unaenda super unabuy stuff, you're not really assured the quality of the produce of what you're getting. But in this kind of setup, the quality of life far outreaches and outweighs
by
the
far
quality of life in the city. In comparison. So this is a really being in such spaces really inspires me a lot. Even in terms of architecture, in terms of design, in terms of construction, because it's like you have a blank sheet. So you can go really wild in terms of design and come up with a really nice development. So
I was about to ask you. First, I want to demystify that aspect that, Ngata is bad, it can sink, etc. So, because this place is so expansive, if it is just one area that was a small area that was affected, it doesn't mean that the entire place is like that. So along that line, maybe I can ask you, what kind of soil tests were done here?
Normally as a practice, rule of thumb, before you engage, start off any construction, you have to do what we call trial pits around the area marked for development. Because largely, when you produce architectural designs, and a structural engineer produces what we call structural design around that particular structure, there has to be due diligence now to look at how the soil is set out on ground, so that as well can inform the structural engineer whether the design they develop while at the office without being on site are still relevant or they will need review. Like for instance, in this particular instance, we did a trial pit, so it gives us a comprehensive outlay of how the soil structure is set out, or stratas of soil and rocks are set out. So we know where we are excavating to. In terms of setting the building in a stable ground. We know what kind of reinforcement that is site specific to this particular site, reinforcement schedule and concrete class to apply on this particular site based on how we found the ground is set out. So that is very important in any development before you commence your construction, to carry out trial pits randomly. Overall on site, so that your structural engineer can be reliably informed as to how the ground is set out.
So maybe to touch on the logistics and timeline. What's the projected timeline from groundbreaking to completion of a mansionette this size?
Well, from experience, mansionettes take anything from 6 to 8 months to complete. Regardless of scale. If you're one of the things is that you find that I'm very precise on timelines is because we generate what we call materials and labor schedule, bills of quantities, then materials and labor schedule, and work schedules as well. So you're able to schedule works and allocate time frames. Yes. So you realize you're not building in a vacuum. We're building based on a design that is costed, whose work plan is already set out, whose materials and labor schedules are already set out. So that informs and is able to allow us to plan ahead in terms of scheduling works that are done concurrently to reduce the lead completion time. So that aspect alone in terms of preparation and management and planning, preparation planning and in terms of construction management helps a great deal in terms of if you want to complete your project within a particular time frame, rather than when you're building in a vacuum, not knowing where you're starting from, where you're headed to. When you're building without knowledge of cost, you can't structure your finances. When you're building not knowing how every other phase interfaces with the current phase or the upcoming phase. So when you have your construction planned out from start to completion, you're able to structure yourself financially, plan for the various phases of construction up to completion.
All right. So maybe last but not least, at this stage of this project, what are some early signs of good or bad progress in a construction site?
We have to look at it from this perspective. Planning. Planning requires some level of anticipation. Wacha tunaongea Kiswahili.
Tuende kazi.
Lazima ukadirie hii mjengo yangu nataka kuifanya kwa muda kiasi gani, nitaijenga kivipi, upange rasilimali zako ndio ziambatane na venye umekadiria kujenga hiyo mjengo yako. Hiyo inaondoa mambo mingi sana. Like when you anticipate how long it will take you, and you structure your finances around it, it sort of eliminates a lot of things. Because you'll be able to plan how you're going to procure materials, where you're sourcing your materials from, how much those materials will cost you, how much labor will cost you. Just basically in its entirety, the wherewith. And that's why sometimes it's very important to try and link yourself up with professionals. For instance, if you link yourself with a quantity surveyor, they'll be able to produce what we call a bills of quantities, showing you the various phases of construction and what it will cost you. Because bills of quantities are very technical as well. A quantity surveyor will also produce what we call a material and labor schedule. And sometimes, if they want to break it down to nitty-gritties, They can also break that material and labor schedule in phases.
Okay.
They can also, generate together with your builder. You can generate what we call a work schedule on a week-to-week basis, month-to-month basis with timelines. That eliminates a lot because you're able to plan your procurement and supply of goods and services around your work schedule. So now, and that takes care a lot because it will also take care of the quality of your workmanship on site, and the quality of your build, because it's centered around a particular work schedule and a work program and deliverables and specific timelines.
All right.
And also the quality of workmanship around what you're working towards accomplishing. So it takes care of a lot.
Okay.
You may find what now will affect those work schedules and timelines are what we call external factors.
Okay.
Factors not related to the build, not related to the developer or the builder. For instance, elements. It can be too rainy. You don't get much done,
much done on that day.
On that day.
Or on a
so
certain
those
week.
kind of external factors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Folks, we will come back again with more lessons around construction. And thanks to the director of Concept Builders here. He has been quite informative every time we go around with him, checking out various projects that they are undertaking, even new ones like this one here. We'll always be learning, from them. So up to that point, of course, if you have a mujengo, you want to start a mujengo, the number is on the screen. Just make a call right there. Remember, we as EZRA ONDARA TV, we also do real estate videography. That means if you have a mujengo, and especially if you are far, we can always get to ground there, take some pictures here and there, tunakutumia, so that you also follow up vile kazi inaendelea kwa ground. Usikuwa unapatiwa stories za jaba ati tulileta na kwa ground hakuna kitu imefanyika, si ndio? See you in the next one. Thank you Wilson. Tuende lunch sasa bwana.
Kesho.
Sawa.
Na kuenjoy.